Hi, everybody. This is Stephanie Rodriguez with USO LMT, and today I have Theresa Gorski with me. She's a massage therapist in the state of Ohio, and today we're going to be talking about the Deshaun Watson case, AMTA, and the National Convention, and how the massage community in Cleveland, Ohio feels. All right, so today I'm here with Theresa Gorski. She's a massage therapist in Cleveland, Ohio. She's in private practice. And Theresa, why don't you tell us a little bit more about you and sort of how you became interested in this whole thing going on with Deshaun Watson in Cleveland?
Yeah, thank you so much, Stephanie. Well, I've been a massage therapist licensed for 20 years, and have been a yoga instructor for 12, 13, 14, I think. And I owned a yoga and wellness studio for 9 years in the heart of Ohio City, which is right in a Cleveland historical district. And so, owning a yoga and wellness center, we were called by the Browns to, send massage therapists their way. So I have sent some of my former, independent contractors there. I'm all things Cleveland. I just absolutely am. I'm a big fan when it came to LeBron and the Cavs, and when the Indians changed their name to the Guardians this past year, I'm like, hallelujah, let's go all in, and have been, supportive of the Browns. But when this Deshaun Watson thing came up, and I first found out that we hired him and they offered him this exorbitant amount of money, knowing that he has all of his accusations against him. I just couldn't stand by and say nothing, because it sounds like he knowingly is still refusing to acknowledge that he did anything wrong, which is another reason why we have to speak out, because I really feel like our profession is being defamed and damaged, and the wrong conversation is happening around massage therapy and in massage in general. So, my background is that I've been an owner and business owner. I now have a private practice in my home office. And, I've had clients for so long, they followed me along all the years through clinics and, even a spa I worked at, and, chiropractor's office, and then my own studio, and now my home office. So I'm very lucky and grateful that I have such a strong following.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. So let's talk about AMTA first. So are you an AMTA member?
I am. I've been a member for 15 years.
All right. So when you first found out they were having the conference in Cleveland, did you talk to your chapter, or did you talk to AMTA National, and what was their response to that?
When I first found out was back when when I first found out that we hired Deshaun Watson, I had already knew that it was going to be in Cleveland. I mean, these conferences are put together way ahead of time. I mean, maybe even multiple years in advance. So, they couldn't knowingly have, averted this, last minute when you're getting big, people to participate in it. It's a lot to put together. So when I first heard about it, I was like, yes, this is the perfect opportunity for all of us massage therapists to get together and elevate the conversation, re-educate the public on what we do and what we don't do. So I reached out to the AMTA at that point with a letter to, I sent it to the former president, and then I copied the current president, the interim president. They had all these different presidents on the list for the board. So I just emailed all of them. And then I also emailed someone from my own Ohio chapter that I had taken a dissection course with. And she unfortunately never responded. And the AMT didn't respond for weeks. And then finally they sent me a blanket email, and then sent me what their basic statement they put on the website was. And it really wasn't until last Tuesday that they elevated their reaction a little bit, because myself and several other colleagues that have been interviewed, we've told the interviewers hey, I think AMTA needs comment on this. So
Yes.
I think it's a great opportunity, and I can see reactions that are like, why would they do this? But like, why not do this? The opportunity to talk about it. Like, we can't just pretend it didn't happen. We can't like just tiptoe away from like this uncomfortable situation. Like, this is what's happening.
Yeah. I mean, my first thought, honestly, and this is probably totally funny to you, but I was just like, why are we going to Cleveland? And I know you told me that Cleveland is actually a lot better, and I've never been there. So I'm going to give you the chance right now. Prove me wrong. Tell me why Cleveland is awesome.
Awesome. Well, Cleveland is amazing for various reasons. So, one, we had the largest theater district outside of New York City, the largest theater district. People don't realize this. Two, our symphony is always top 8 in the world, but top 2 in the nation. The Cleveland Orchestra, which they're unbelievable. 3, our museums are incredible. Like, so the Cleveland Museum of Art is often in the top 1, top 2 in the nation, and one of the top public museums in all of the world. So, like that alone, we have 3 major sports teams. One I'm a little frustrated with, but the other 2, I mean, these are good things for a lot of people that want to participate in big city fun. We held the Gay Games in 2015, and that was one of the most incredible, wide open hearted responses from not only the community, but from the business sector, and it raised so much money for that cause that it was that next year that that Marriage Equality Act passed. And we are a very 50-50 state as far as like where we lean politically, but it's very gerrymandered. So like there's some different, things we've come on a different side of how I'd like for things to come out. But, ultimately, Cleveland is a hardworking town, and it has a lot of upside. It keeps shooting ourselves in the foot when we have things like, it's like, of course the Browns decide to do this, like,
Yeah.
but, ultimately for people that are visitors, we have a huge foodie neighborhood. Michael Simon, who is a huge, celebrity now, has a lot of his restaurants. Karen Small, she's a nationally recognized restaurateur. I mean, they goes on and on as far as the food. So we've got the lake. We're right on the lake and the water. People don't realize we do actually have beaches and an amazing park system here. So that's my spiel for Cleveland.
That is nice. I love lakes, and I live in Phoenix, Arizona. We have some, but yeah, no, I miss trees and beaches. So I'll go with that. All right. Cleveland is probably not as bad as I thought it was originally.
All right.
And thank you for that, Theresa. And so your response to, all right, so let's talk about like, we talked about when you kind of first sounded the alarm to Watson's trade. Now I want to talk about this boycott, because I know that you had sent out an email to your list talking about a boycott, which was in the article that the cleveland.com published. So tell me a little bit about that. Like, why did you think that was a great idea? And sort of what was the response to that?
Yeah. Well, partly the response is that obviously this organization is not, they're not aware that this is an actual problem, and that this, this makes my profession more dangerous when they ignore it and when they enable it. I also thought of the therapists that I had sent to the Browns in the past. I thought, as somebody that's a 20-year veteran in Cleveland, that, it's my responsibility to speak up. And, the fact that, that I'm in Cleveland, and I think that I have a voice in this, and I just am really passionate about my profession and trying to elevate how people consider my profession. And so when people start talking about, massage therapists, the way I'm seeing, in the comments, I decided to send out something to my whole list of people that were from my yoga studio and my massage clients. So this is a list of maybe 6,000. And I was fired up, and I wanted people to get fired up too. And I also wanted to raise the alarm. This is not okay. And so I could have just said something, but the Browns massage ban was something like, you know what? Not only the players, but anybody that works in the entire place, you should be ashamed of this decision. And there are repercussions to these decisions. And massage is a privilege. And guess what? This massage therapist is not going to be working with your establishment or anybody in it. I also encouraged massage therapists that I knew in other cities that when Deshaun Watson is on the road, eventually, he's in Detroit. Be aware that this guy is a predator. He's going to be in Detroit surfing through Instagram looking for massage therapists. So, I felt like it was time to say that. I got a lot of mixed messages. I got a lot of support, actually more emails of support than I've really ever had in response to a newsletter. And then I got some saying, Theresa, be careful. You don't want to lose clients. And, these women are liars. Or one person even went out and tell me that I got some secret information from some lawyer that I know that blah, blah, blah proves all these women are, being paid. And I won't have it. There's one thing to be, critical of things before they really come out, but there is plenty of evidence to be weary of this situation,
Yeah, definitely. 24 people. They're not going to make it up.
And then 66 different massage therapists in a 17-month span. I mean, I've worked with professionals of all sorts, and people that use their body for their work would never go to that many massage therapists, especially if they're, an actual athlete that's rehabbing a condition that wants, someone that, has worked with them before to know how their body responds to therapy. It's red flags.
Yes, I agree. I mean, I've worked at plenty of resorts out here in the Phoenix area, and I've worked with NFL players before. And my response to this was like, yeah, I've worked with a lot of NFL players, but like not one of them has asked me to use a tiny hand towel for his draping. Not one of them has made me feel uncomfortable. And yeah, so I don't know, this whole thing with Watson was just kind of like off the hook for me. I was like, what the heck is going on here?
There's layers to it, and I think that, for someone who's never had a situation with a sports athlete, and that's wonderful that you've had, such like, professional scenarios, but I have gone to do, I think the Marriott downtown used to call me to do massages, and I had very professionals that I would work with, because they'd work with concierge, and the concierge would call me and things. And there was only one time that, I had a situation where I had to let the concierge know, like, I'm not working on this guy again. And I can only imagine, though, how he was having these women meet him like last minute. And he was calling them, to hotel rooms to do this work. And it just, I can see how the power dynamic had, was shifted from the start. But, it's more about really the culture of what we have going on right now. And this is really bigger than Deshaun Watson. This really has to do with rape culture, and the Me Too movement has burst through a lot of different groups, but it still hasn't, I think, this is kind of like our first in our profession that is going, widely spoken about.
Yeah, definitely. I know that they did do kind of like a massage therapist Me Too movement a couple years ago in Oregon. And I've spoken to some therapists who were sort of part of that and headed that up. And it's amazing how often this happens. And, when I started my organization, that was one of the first things that I started looking into: sexual assault, sexual solicitation in the massage room. I've been a therapist for 6 years. I've had a lot of experiences that were just not at all where they should have been. Even my very first client in my private practice. So, it was a great way to start off massage therapy. And I think this is a problem that it's gotten bigger since COVID-19 started. We've seen it kind of escalate, and I think the associations are starting to pay more attention to it, which is really great. But, in cases like this, like, I'm so glad I had the chance to talk to you, because I really feel like when this happens, we need to be heard, and, our experiences need to be taken seriously. Mm-hmm. And so, I guess my next question really is, what about your community? Like, what are other people in your massage community going through? How are they feeling? Are they nervous about this? Are they wanting to speak out more? Like, what's going on there specifically?
So, there are therapists that have worked together in groups. Like there's a MNO PBRN group. So it's a massage therapy research-based group. And, we've slid out of function with the pandemic, but this kind of brought some of us back together. So I think those that are focused on elevating the conversation about massage therapy in general, and maybe who have had more years of experience and been around the block a bit more, I don't know if it's having more compassion for, all of us. If it didn't, just because it didn't rain outside my door doesn't mean it's not raining somewhere, kind of a situation. And you start to get a better idea the longer you've been around. I just can't bear to have our profession being talked about in this way. And so, I after that article came out, several other massage therapists reached out to me. So we've been talking on a weekly basis, working together to put just a happy hour maybe during the AMTA so that we can talk about this. Because if they're not going to address this, and they're not, if they're not just going to ignore it and pretend it like didn't happen, people want to talk about it. Massage therapists need to talk about it and air out, well, maybe, there are some stories we need to get off our chest, or was that sexual assault, or, was it, and what I started to realize, earlier on in my career is, if you think something weird is going on, if you think something sexual is happening on the table, it probably is. So like, to listen to the little voice in your head, because it's confusing sometimes, or it's like, well, wait, did he just, what, if I'm working on somebody's hand or something, it's like sometimes the body has reactions, but you can tell and feel a difference between intention and not, So there are other therapists, though, that I know want to blame the victims and say this, if it would never happen to me. They should have been more professional. Why would they, why didn't they report this? And, I think the other element of this whole story is that, I talked to a prosecutor about just last week about what is the burden of evidence for you to even come forward with something like this. Mm-hmm. And it is hard. It is even more rare, I think, than rape cases, because at least in rape cases, there's evidence if they gather it. I mean, why do you think Deshaun Watson takes his towel with him? It's like,
because there's no evidence,
right? There's no videos. There's no, it's somebody's lived experience that they're sharing. And there has to be enough of these cases piled up in order for them, to even have their chance. What she said is that, we sit down with these people and we say, hey, listen, this is really going to change this person's life. And not only that, this may very well change your life. Are you ready to be drugged through the dirt? Or how much time and money can you dedicate to this? And if you're just a massage therapist working, to pay your bills and have some livelihood, I can see how, going to the police and waiting for hours and then having a story and having no evidence and being hounded, how that may not feel worth it for a lot of us. And then in the end, these women in Texas, mind you, had to come out against all odds. Like, I applaud anybody who has the strength to do this, because it's not easy.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, even if you're coming out against someone as popular or powerful, right? As Deshaun Watson or Robert Kraft. Like, we can't forget about that, right? Like, when you're coming out against a person like that, like, what, I don't know. I feel like sometimes you think like there's no chance, right?
Yeah.
There's no chance. They're going to go unpunished anyways. What's the point?
Right.
You know?
For sure. I mean, there's absolutely power dynamic there. It's not just money and size. It's the presence and the backing of the NFL that they have, essentially.
Yeah.
They make money, it's when it's all about money, that's their bottom line. So
absolutely. And so Rusty Hardin, Deshaun's lawyer, we all know what he said, talking about how happy endings were not a crime. Now, after I heard that, I wrote a public notice and put it on my website, put it on all of our socials as well, talking about how, obviously happy endings, that is a crime. It's a crime in all states, and you can't do that to massage therapists. And I want to know, like, what was your response? Because I was mad. I was so mad. And I was just like, somebody better do something about this. Somebody better say something about this. So I wrote to all the massage associations, plus put out my own notice. So tell me about your response.
Well, my response was that let's see, I'm like trying to think of when that was. Well, that was right before this article that I was interviewed for the Cleveland Plain Dealer about our responses, fans of the Browns and of Cleveland, of this whole case. It came around the same time, and I was sickened by it. And I reached out to the AMTA, and then that's when I started getting a little bit more serious about collaborating with some other people. And we're talking about panel talks. We're talking about, what are we doing for the AMTA? What's our ask for the NFL? What's our ask for people in general, just for public awareness, for body workers, for massage therapists? And, we started to talk about, as much as I love elevating our profession, massage therapy, I know Thai massage people that do not have a license, but are amazing body workers. And, I want to bring us all in this same table under massage, because no one deserves to have, whether you work in a spa or in a clinic or in a, massage place, no one deserves to have some jerk lawyer tell millions of people that that's okay, and then have those people come into your establishment. Nobody deserves that. So that's when I started getting really upset and really, elevated my actions in my task to get more people involved. I've been sending regular things to my own clients, just encouraging them to really do three things. And that's to, if you know someone who's never had a massage, tell them to get a massage session. If you have a great testimonial of a massage therapist, like, give them a shout out publicly and let people know that they're professionals and what they therapeutically did for you. And then 3, tell your doctor that you're getting massage therapy and how much it's helpful, and can you get a script for it? It's every state is different. In Ohio, we have a tax on massage therapy unless you have a doctor's note.
Really?
So we are part of the medical board, but we are still also taxed. It's crazy. So those are my action items where I'm like, okay, like, we just have to change the conversation. And that's why I think the AMTA is actually a really good thing that it's coming to Cleveland, because it's an opportunity to talk about it and to not just let it fester,
Yeah, here's what I would like to see the AMTA do. I would like to see a huge public awareness campaign. We need to have that for our profession. And, AMTA has the most money. They have the most therapists. They are the ones that really should be taking a hold of this idea and putting something out there nationwide, right?
Absolutely.
And it drives me crazy that on a lot of these issues, they just kind of like lay low and they don't say much of anything, and they just kind of keep going. And I know, like, at some point, I think I heard that they had done like national massage therapy commercials and stuff like that. And I think we need to bring that back. I think we need to really start educating the public in a different way, because as a massage therapist, you can educate your clients all day long, right? Your clients come in, they know what massage therapy is, and they learn kind of as they go, what you're all about and the fact that you really truly can help them, right? But educating more people, the people who are listening to like the comics make jokes about happy endings and like the movies that are always like, ooh, massage therapy, right? That's not where we need to be going. And so in my opinion, I would like to see a lot more done on that front.
Yes, I would love for AMTA to do those public campaigns. I mean, if they did like commercials, if they were digital, that would be unbelievable. And I can't believe they haven't taken this opportunity to have this response. The only reason I can think of is that they want to just have membership, and these things are, it's not all black and white, but sometimes people make it that way. And so, if they think they're going to lose any membership, they're not going to rock the boat. But they really need to, because they say there are advocates, and I'm not seeing any advocacy here at all for our profession.
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, that's one of the reasons why I started my organization, because I was like, where is the advocacy for something like this? I don't know if you know Joyce Gauthier, but she had started the Respect Massage movement, which ABMP has recently adopted. I talked to her when I very first started, like, how can we help? How can we make this better for therapists? And, the education is awesome about what to look for in the treatment room, how to stop the session, all of that stuff. Every therapist needs that, but until we have like a real public awareness of what is happening here and what's happening in our profession, I don't know how this is going to stop.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's both. I think it needs to have like a threefold. Our profession needs to keep elevating, our professional standards, and I think continuing education across the board. I think that we need to have some way of either reporting or tracking or blacklisting people that mistreat massage therapists, because if this happens in one area and then they move to, or they're a traveling person, they're just in a different city, like we kind of tell each other at other clinics, like, hey, watch out for this guy, he's calling for a massage or something. We know what to look for when there's a creep that's soliciting, but how do we, ring the bell? How do we announce that beyond us? There needs to be some sort of reporting system. And then, I think that if we can, come together as, one voice in a sense of this body literacy. So a friend of mine who I'm working with, she's really got this, campaign for body literacy. People have lost touch with their own bodies, their own selves, with touch in itself. Touch is becoming complicated, with the Me Too movement, it's becoming complicated. Yeah. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't teach appropriate touch. So, some sort of like a body literacy campaign that starts at a younger age, so that, I don't know, when these football players are coming up and growing up, they have a different appreciation for touch, for pain, for therapy, and it's not a foreign thing of somebody touching them in a therapeutic way. Yeah.
So what do you think we should ask of the NFL in this situation, or any situation like this going forward?
Well, I mean, there should be a zero tolerance policy, in my opinion. Once this is established, zero tolerance to like any massage therapy or bodywork professionals that are working within their establishment should absolutely have some sort of reporting structure so that this, if it does happen, this zero tolerance policy will come into effect and they'll be fired. And I think, there really should be some sort of a campaign for massage therapy to undo the harm done to our profession. I mean, locally, what we're going to be asking the Browns for is we think 10,000 people should receive free massage therapy sessions that have never received massage. So we can start to change the conversation by actually getting massage therapist business, mentoring newer massage therapists, and giving people an opportunity who have no idea what it is to really change their mind about it, open up some eyes. And, yeah, it's going to cost some money and it's going to be some work, but this, they need to they can't undo the harm, but we can start to work now and use this as an opportunity to, change the conversation and really do some good things instead.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great idea. So you're going to ask the Browns to pay for that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I hope they say yes. That would be awesome. And then as far as like your individual therapist, like what would you, I don't know, what's your advice to us right now? Like what would you do? Or what would you have us do in this situation if anything else like this happens to another massage therapist? What should we do?
Well, so often massage therapists working alone, we can feel like we're just working in silos, like we're all by ourselves, but really reach out and find an organization, find people that will support you, that you can talk about what happened without judgment. If you find an organization, and if you, I'm so lucky that now I don't have new people entering my doors. Like I'm just mostly focusing on my same clients. If I was going back to a time where I had people that were coming off the streets, I would ask a lot more questions. I think that I would also establish really strong boundaries from the start. I would encourage people to, again, have their clients that love them talk about them and try to change this conversation that's taking place, because it's really up to everyone to talk about it. So, don't keep it back to yourself. And if you need help, go to counseling, go to the Cleveland Rape Crisis Center is getting a lot of calls because of this and a lot of extra donations. And I've talked to their president or executive director, and Sandra Miller, and she's been wonderful and wants to collaborate with us. So, for those that have had this happen to you and think like, heaven forbid that you want to quit the profession, there's help for you available for you. Yeah.
That's great advice. All right, Theresa. Well, it was awesome to talk to you. I'm so glad that you took the time out of your day to do that. Keep us updated. Like I would love to hear updates on how things are going there. If you do a collaboration with the counselor, like let us know about it. I will help promote if you want me to. Yeah, absolutely. And promote things to our audience. And who's your friend with the body literacy? I'm curious about that.
Her name is Diane Masnardo, and she's pretty amazing. She's done a lot of research, and she has a body literacy program for kids that she calls BAM, BAAM. And it teaches, body literacy for children to start to learn to appreciate and become aware of their senses. So
I love that. That's awesome. I'm going to look into that too. She might be a great person to talk to. So
she would love to, I bet.
All right, Theresa. Well, thank you so much.
Stephanie.
Very nice to talk to you, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Take care.
Thanks. You too. Bye.